This is part 2 of the Model A build. All you need to do a build like this is a grinder and a $200 welder. Gonna wrap around here and boom. Good afternoon, everybody. This is part 2 of the Model A build. Since you last seen it, we've done a couple changes, specifically in the suspension, because I decided that the original plan was stupid and I was going to change it. Instead of switching to quarter elliptical rear suspension, we're keeping the monoleaf at the rear and we're just going to use a different leaf spring eventually. And the half elliptical leaf springs I originally bought for the rear suspension, I have bolted to the front. And what we did was we welded this bar across for the front support for the leaf springs, and then welded in some shackles at the rear. And now, today, we're going to have to mock up the axle, and we're going to have to cut out some supports and U-bolt it to the actual leaf springs, because otherwise we're just a half rolling chassis and this is basically useless. Alright, so I got these two plates cut out. These plates are going to sit on top of the leaf spring like that. I need to drill out these holes a little bit more. Half inch just seems a little bit too small. And then these plates are going to be welded to the bottom of the axle, which is all going to be reinforced, and lots of different stuff going on there, especially because my U-bolts need to have a little bit of play in between them and the axle, so we need to take up that soon. All you need to do a build like this is a grinder and a $200 welder. Anyone who says otherwise is just an idiot, or thinks you can't do it and doesn't have the skill to do it. That's all you need. But so this is going to go on right here. I need to bore out this hole a little bit more. Fits nice and flush. Axle's going to sit on this. We're going to tilt the axle backwards on it so it has a little bit of caster. That way it has some camber gain in the corners. That way it handles a bit better. And yeah, let's get to it. Alrighty, so we got those perches welded on, and they should be at the exact spacing of the leaf springs, which means I probably got it wrong and it's probably going to be a pain in the ass, but we'll deal with that later. That's a problem for future Matt. Next, we need to build some spacers that way and weld them on. That way the actual U-bolts aren't a pain in the ass. And let's go grab some of them right now. Like any solid axle, the U-bolts are just going to wrap around here and boom. Boom. And they're going to clamp on. Which we have this plate that's going to go below all the leaf springs. And hopefully everything bolts together. Let's see. That goes in. Bit of a pain, but that's how it's going to go. Hopefully we have enough threads for this. Let's see, where's my tape measure? Tape measure! That is 1 3/8 an inch. And that's a much bigger gap than that. So yeah, we should be fine with how many threads we have. What's going to be interesting is how this is going to be a little bit skewed. So my next goal is probably going to be getting this actually on the leaf springs and having this whole axle rest there. That way we can build this nicely and properly without it being a pain in the neck. As you can see, I actually put these perches back at an angle. That way we have a bit of caster, and that should make the car handle a lot better than it would if it was no caster like that, because this is a disaster in the corners. This is less of a disaster in the corners. So we'll see how that goes when we actually get to drive the car later this year. And if I can get this U-bolt off. Don't do this, it screws up the threads. Yep, gonna have to run that through a die. But anyways, let's get this on the leaf springs. Okay, very excited now. Front axle is bolted on. Everything is nice and square. The wheelbase is about 4 inches shorter than it was before, so we're about 101 inch wheelbase. I need to double check that though. The front axle is nicely U-bolted on. We have to paint it that way nothing rusts. But everything is working like it should. I'm very happy about this. I'm very happy about this result. We have nice caster up front. That's probably about somewhere between 5 and 7 degrees of caster, which is just perfect. And then the front axle is above the front leaf springs. So it actually has a nice slow stance. As you can see, I'm 6'2", and it's about, the frame's about halfway between my foot, my ankle, and my knee, which is right around perfect for getting in and out of the car. I absolutely fucked up this socket and screwdriver and nut, so that's going to be interesting to get out later. And I had to remove the steering shaft and column, everything like that, to actually get this axle on, because of the fact that it was in the way, the engine was in its way. And I also have to kind of modify the arms a little bit to make it work. Otherwise it's going to hit the leaf springs. But very, very, very successful. I'm very happy about this. So next step will be pulling the engine and getting that lump in this frame. So yeah, I'm going to get this painted in between now and the next episode. And in the next episode we should be pulling the engine. So I'm very happy. Very happy.